All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets today, mostly in NBA, but we have some good props elsewhere, so I'll be touching on those as well. Let's go ahead and get into it. So first, just starting out with the board that we have, we are getting some decent prop bets, EV-wise, for prize picks right now. We can see Jake Moody for over 7.5 for kicking points. There's going to be one that you guys could run out. That's kind of a fun one there. Lamar Jackson over 9.5 rush attempts is a good EV bet. Jumping into underdog as well, we're getting some pretty good ones there as well for Lamar Jackson. Still, we got Dort for over 3.5 rebounds. Kind of an interesting day as a whole. So let's go ahead and jump into NBA. We have about 5 games here, guys. And so looking at it, start out with the first game. We got Washington versus New York, about a 12-point spread. So there is the concern for some blowout risk. 235 or so is going to be the over and under. Looking at the injury report, the biggest news that we have is Daniel Gafford is out, which still has me on tilt that he got injured in that game in which he would have given us a 6-for-6 slip, or sorry, 5-for-5 slip. That's right. I think it was Jared Allen was a push, tied his prop line. Still bittersweet there. But all in all, him being out could be a big piece of news. Now, they recently made a trade with Detroit that sent Mike Muscala over there. Now, Marvin Bagley is a good center. If he is starting and he does get a lot of minutes in this game, he is someone I'm intrigued in because we know he's a point per minute type producer. We saw it time and time again, even in Detroit, where they ran out 4 bigs. And so I'm kind of excited to see what he does. I don't know if we're going to get that many good prop lines for him. The player that we might want to look at the most is going to be Kyle Kuzma. The issue with Kyle Kuzma is that we look at the points, rebounds, and assist line. The data isn't exactly liking the over here. So for me, for the most part, I'm probably just staying away. But we have seen him operate as the center for Washington in this situation. Well, Daniel Gafford's been out in the past. And so we don't exactly know what's going to happen. Obviously, they're going to be without Danilo Gallinari, who was traded, Mike Muscala, who was traded. They got Marvin Bagley there. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But all in all, I think we can bank on Kyle Kuzma at least getting a lot of minutes like he has. He's like the one player that we can trust to get minutes for Washington. Now, that's assuming the game stays close. We don't know if that's going to happen. New York is 1, a difficult matchup, and 2, not a matchup that you typically want to target overs with, typically when the average is basically, or when the prop line is basically at their average, like Kyle Kuzma's is. So I can get that. Looking at his per 36 production, however, with Gafford off the court, Kyle Kuzma averages 30 points per 36, 9.2 rebounds. Okay, so that's like the biggest one, and it's about the same assists. So to me, maybe we would want to be looking at a rebounds prop for him, but I think that's why we're not getting a rebounds prop for him, because, well, that could be the biggest edge on the slate, and they don't want to give that. Other than that, for Washington, I don't really see any props that I like. We see Jordan Poole for over 1.5 turnovers is the best one there, but all in all, feels a little bit too thin. Let's go ahead and move on into the Knicks. Now, they are going to have one of the best matchups on the slate. We are only getting Jalen Brunson props right now. I'm a little bit confused as to why. Everyone is healthy for this team. My only thought would be that they played a game last night. Maybe they're expecting someone to sit on the back end of back-to-back. All in all, though, this is a very good matchup for them. We can see in the last game against Washington that they played recently. That's where I don't mind looking at a game log, by the way, guys, is when it's somewhat recent. And that game was. So we look at that 33, 8, and 3. And so at his points, rebounds, and assists, he got the over there. The way I see it, though, like, the reason he was able to get there is because he got 35 minutes in that game. So, like, to me, we probably would want to run out some sort of game stack there if we're going to use that one. And so Julius Randle had an awesome game against them as well. And that's my point. It's like, if we're going to be running out any New York Knicks props, let's just kind of run out a game stack. Probably Randle, probably Brunson. So I want to jump into the next game. We got Toronto, who's on the back end of back-to-back against the Bulls, okay? Toronto just traded Pascal Siakam, and we saw RJ Barrett go off. We saw Scotty Barnes have a decent game. We saw Jonte Porter get the start, and then we also saw Quickly just continue to play well for them. This is a pretty interesting matchup as well. Kobe White is going to be one of the better prop bets. I'll show you guys that in a second. But we got to remember, for Toronto, they are going to be without Jakob Poeltl as well, which that's why someone like Jonte Porter has been getting some run for them. And real quickly, let's just pull up Toronto's kind of game log. So Porter played 18 minutes last night against Miami. More difficult matchup against them, but he did start. I do think that's noteworthy. Thad Young ended up playing 28 minutes. That game was a blowout. I think that's part of the reason as to why. Like, to me, I'm looking at that. It was a blowout against Miami as well. Like, to me, Porter was the one that started. If this game stays close like Vegas is expecting it to, I kind of expect it to be him. Do want to note, McDaniels did not really play in that game. He was someone that, with Siakam gone and with Porter out, I was thinking maybe he gets some more run. No, that did not happen. We saw RJ Barrett play 36 minutes. We actually saw Grady Dick get some run in this game, 12 minutes the last 2 games. And again, partially probably due to blowout run in that game. Scotty Barnes played his kind of normal allotment of minutes. Again, probably gets a little bit more if the game's not a blowout. We look at Quickly had himself a very good game on limited minutes, only 30 minutes, didn't need to play that much, nearly had a triple-double in that game. And I do want to call out Gary Trent Jr. was back. He did play some heavy minutes, and he's the player that I think is going to benefit the most right now while Joachim Poeltl is still out. And so maybe we get some good props on him. I don't think it was a fluke that he played 30 minutes, so I do think maybe we're looking at him a little bit as well. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the props that we are getting right now. So we see Quickly at 4.5 is his rebounds total. We saw he nearly had a triple-double in the last game. I actually don't mind that. It was kind of surprising going against Miami that he did that well. Really, I think Quickly is just going to continue to play well. So if there's a specific one that you guys like, by all means, run with it. I think that's a good call. RJ Barrett over points, rebounds, and assists, I'm kind of okay with as well, even though the data is telling us not to. Now, maybe we're just running out of game stack, and they were hot last night. Don't get me wrong. They were extremely hot last night. RJ Barrett and Quickly. Obviously, that game was a blowout pretty fast, and you're losing Siakam. Like, that's not a good thing. And who knows, maybe someone that they acquired from the Pacers, like I think it was Jordan Nwora, maybe he gets some run or something. But all in all, I kind of like the prop lines that we're getting for Toronto. The question is, do we have an ability to game stack here? We have one really good one for Coby White. I do expect this one to get bumped, so it's not going to make the bet of the day because I expect it to get bumped. If it is still there, guys, 9.5 rebounds and assists for Coby White. I do like that. And I do want to point out with Coby White, he has been playing really well this whole season, but there's a period in there where he was just going off for like 2 weeks straight and then kind of naturally came back to his mean. But now with everyone back healthy, he has been playing much better, much more consistently. And so the data likes over 9.5 rebounds and assists. You can see that's basically what he averages. I'm guessing it's a Toronto matchup thing where, they got worse defensively. I think that's safe to say. So there should be a couple more assists available. And then from there, I do kind of think Vooch is going to have a good game. Now, we didn't see Bam dominate, and so that could be a concern. But Vooch at 33.5 in this matchup where they're running out like Thad Young and Porter, I'm not too worried about it. I think he is a good bet to get the over here. And if you look at it, he has been able to crush in those easier matchups. Charlotte, for example, and then the Spurs as well. So I do think there's something there. Now we go ahead and jump into the Jazz versus the Thunder. 3.5 point spread, 244 for the over and under. No injury data to go off of. So for me, guys, this was the one spot specifically for Utah and Memphis. You'll see a little bit that I was kind of digging. You look at John Collins, his points, rebounds, and assists does seem to be pretty low. Colin Sexton, rebounds and points does seem to be a little bit low. Let's show you guys why. So John Collins is someone that up until that blowout there against Indy, and that's a concern, I guess, and Toronto, when they haven't been blowout, he has been getting a decent amount of run. And so this is, if you're betting is over, which I'm perfectly fine with, I think that's a good move tonight. But at the same time, know that it is a little bit risky. It is very much dependent on this game staying close because if it doesn't, he's not going to get the minutes. So there is some concern there, but that's why the line is so low. Because, again, blowouts, he's not getting run. Colin Sexton is someone we also can't really trust to get a lot of minutes, but he is extremely efficient in limited minutes anyways. He has been going off. And so the line that we're getting on him does feel extremely soft for how well he has been playing recently. And so I do think there's a slight edge there. Again, if the game stays close, that's going to increase the likelihood of those two prop lines hitting the over because, well, they're going to be on the court a little bit longer. And then from there, jumping into OKC as well, we see the one for Dort, over 3.5 rebounds. If you guys want to run that out, by all means, go for it. Chet Holmgren under rebounds and assists, kind of a decent one as well. The one that I thought stood out was Jalen Williams for over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And this is why I don't like to place bets until I have looked at the data, because this is one where I saw it, I'm like, that is strange. Let's crush that over. And that is rooted in the fact that he has just been going off. You look at the one matchup where you would have been a little bit concerned against Orlando. They've been pretty good defensively. He got the under. Every other game he's gotten the over. And so I do think that there's something there. And I probably will place this bet on maybe like FanDuel or DraftKings, but on PrizePicks it's not. I don't think it's that worthwhile. Just because, again, looking at the data, it says almost a 52% chance for the under to hit. So obviously we don't love chasing bets that don't give us the best odds to hit. So let's jump on into the Pacers versus the Kings. 7-point spread, very high scoring game. So we know that Haliburton still out for them. Mathurin being out could be something big. Toppin being out could be something big. Aaron Naismith being out could be something big. We got to look at the injury report. All of them are like truly questionable. Okay, Siakam probably going to sit. They might need him to play though. So that is a very cloudy situation. We don't know what to expect. We really don't. And we're not going to get any prop bets for them I will say maybe the Pacers are a team we could be looking at. Maybe by night's end, maybe like TJ McConnell is someone we're getting good props on. Maybe he's forced into a lot of minutes. Maybe Buddy Hield is forced into a lot of minutes. That could be something we're looking at. But for now, not something I'm interested in. Two lines that I agree with, but I would say don't correlate is Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray under fantasy score. To me, it's like one or the other. Like if Murray's having a good game, that's going to hurt Huerter and vice versa. So all in all, I get why we're not really getting that many good props here. Let's move on into the last game. We got Memphis versus the Timberwolves. To me, this is the best game that we're getting props-wise. The issue that we see, 12-point spread. Don't love that. We saw yesterday there's a lot. That's been the case with NBA, I guess, for a while now. A lot of games have been blowing out, but yesterday there was a lot of random blowouts, so we don't love that. I want to call it the injury report. Derrick Rose out, Bane out, Smart out, John Morant out. And so for me, guys, I was instantly already thinking Luke Kennard, let's roll with him. He shot the ball 2 for 9, 2 for 7. He shot the ball terribly in the last game, okay? Look at his PRA, 11 points, 5 assists, so 16 and 18 there. While shooting the basketball terribly, okay? So for me, I want to take a peek at Memphis, and I think he's going to be the first player that I want to call out. So Luke Kennard over assists you can run with. Luke Kennard rebounds, they're like in the under there. But I just want to take a peek at him as a whole. Points, rebounds, and assists. At 19.5, that seems extremely low. It does. Now, you could just run the points for the over. He's just a player that should benefit the most in this situation. He should, if he's getting us 33 minutes, we know he's going to shoot the basketball a ton. That is a good spot. Now, Minnesota is a more difficult matchup. I get that. That's why the line is so low. But I found it extremely shocking that he didn't get 10 shot attempts up in that game. Probably because he wasn't shooting the basketball all too well. But still, if he's going to be facilitating the basketball, if he's going to be kind of running as the point guard, I like the over assist, and I like probably points and assists is probably the best one for him, but all in all, I think his lines are too low. I also want to call it another player that I kind of mentioned in yesterday or in the last video was Vince Williams. It was Luke Kennard and Vince Williams were the two players that were the data was telling us would benefit the most with all those guards out. And that is exactly what happened, especially for Vince Williams, who had himself a pretty darn good game. 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 24 points, got to the free throw line a lot. Love that there from him. And he is someone where, again, like I personally think these are good over bets. Like the points, rebounds, and assists. Like I like all these. And honestly, I think these two are going to be two players I'm looking at to bet probably fantasy score wise as well. If Luke Kennard is giving us 5 assists, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's like 7 fantasy points right there. So yeah, I think those two are going to be two I want to look at fantasy score wise. I am doing this video a little bit earlier than normal, so I don't have that data just yet. Typically that comes out from when I'm recording this like 2 hours later. So that's unfortunate, but those two players, I say the lines that we're getting there are extremely low. And then from there, Jaren Jackson, if you want to run out rebounds and assists, you could. He should get a higher usage rate, but don't love it. So I do want to look at Minnesota with Rudy Gobert as well, because he is someone that I think is really in a good spot. Okay. All of the Minnesota props are kind of being favored for the over. It's really up to you guys to decide which Rudy Gobert prop you like the most. But just looking at his game log, he's been able to crush an easy matchup. This is an easy matchup tonight as well. So all in all, I like his over. And then just looking at some other sports, college basketball wise, not getting that many great prop bets just yet. Taking a peek at the discrepancies here, guys. Going to take off NFL and just look at all the other sports. MMA a little bit there. League of Legends a little bit there. Not enough for me to really go in on. Hockey wise, I do feel like we are getting some pretty good props. A lot of the data, shouldn't say a lot of the data, enough of the data is kind of agreeing with some of the lines that we were getting. So if you guys want to roll with any of these, like this one, Pedersen for under shots on goal projected to get 2.6, that's okay. And then just as an FYI, guys, I want to call out that for golf this week, I actually took the golf props off the PrizePicks cheat sheet. And the reason I did that is because they're playing on 3 different courses right now. And so it's very tough to have the data be as accurate as I would like it to be, because 2 of the courses play a little bit easier than the main course, which is what they're playing on. And this is getting into too much details. But pretty much for me, I didn't want people to be going in on props where the data isn't as strong as it typically would be. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Now, if you want to go in on some of these edges, you could. What I want to look at is some of these prop line differences. And I think we are getting some pretty good prop bets on Underdog and here are some interesting ones here. I don't mind this. So PrizePicks. So Chris Kirk potentially under strokes at 68. I actually don't mind that now looking at it. Underdog's at 67. He's playing on an easier course. Sam Burns, I actually don't mind for under his. He's playing on an easier course. So maybe there is some slight edges there. Actually, man, Jason Day for under 68. 68 for strokes. I don't mind, especially now seeing that Underdog is valuing him at 67. Okay, so I might be doing Jason Day, because looking at guys, and this is, I don't want to go into too much detail, but in DFS they do showdown slates, which is round by round stuff. Jason Day is one of the better round one showdown plays. He's one of the more likely golfers to have the first on lead. So all in all, I don't mind that. But looking at this is what I wanted to show you guys. So for Underdog, I like some of the prop bets that we're getting. One of the ones that I liked at the start of the week was Tony Finau for over 5 birdies. That one has since been taken away, but if you guys want to run out Wyndham Clark for over 5 birdies, that's a decent one. Sam Burns on Underdog for over 5 birdies, that's also a decent one there as well. And see, this is weird. How, like, look at this, guys. This is extremely weird. So Jason Day, I'm just going to pull him up here on here, actually. How does this make sense? PrizePicks has his birdies or better set at 5.5, while his strokes line is set at 68. So if he's getting 5.5 birdies, he's going to get under 68. And vice versa. If Jason Day's only getting 5 birdies, he's not going to get under 67.5 strokes, most likely. That is super strange to me. Super strange. I don't really, those should be flip-flop. That is definitely an interesting difference there. But enough with golf. Let's go and get into the bet of the day for today. So looking at the bet of the day, guys, I do just want to start with a little bit of caution. We've been running pretty darn hot on PrizePicks over the past really 2 weeks or so, and these props are kind of much more my thoughts on tonight's slate. So honestly, if there's a miss today, like this would be the miss that we're going to have, because 1, we've been running hot, and 2, I did this video a little bit earlier than I would typically like. And so just a little bit of caution. I don't need anyone increasing their bankroll or increasing what they're putting in just because we're running hot. That's always my biggest fear about hot streaks. So just want to call that out. But I did just mess this up. I realized this. I had Jason Day originally at listed as more. It's going to be less than 68 strokes there. If you want to bet more, that's going to be an Underdog at 7 or 67.5. Then from there, we are still getting Kobe White for over rebounds and assists there. I thought that would have been bumped. So if it's not, by all means use that. And then because that one was still there, I made this into a 6 slip bet. So I added in the Jake Moody prop. Again, these two are going to be props that I expect to be bumped. And then these other ones are going to be ones in which I probably want to be running out the over fantasy score for, but I think these are pretty good. I like the fact that we can run this out in a game stack. You know, that's the part I like. If you guys want to run out Toronto, I think Quickly, Barrett, and even Scotty Barnes, those are going to be some good options as well. Obviously, smaller slate for NBA. But that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell as well. Don't miss out on any of the great content. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, head on over to 9to5sports.com. They are available for just $10 a month. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.